Hello again. Today's card is a perfect example of waste not, want not. We have used a large die here to create an aperture, and I want to show you how you can do this. Now, if you saw that gorgeous die I just showed you, this is part of the new Couture Creations Fantasia collection. It's called the Blossom die. Absolutely stunning. The interesting thing about these dies is they come with a piece of ejection foam inside of the packaging. And I'll show you what that looks like. They suggest to put it into each die to cut it. It's a very, very thin piece of foam. Personally, I think just using wax paper with these gives you a better cut. But I just thought I'd point that one out to you. And then the sentiment for today's card is from the Spellbinders Charmed I'm Sure set. It's a lovely little set of little tags that you can use when you have a really large focal element on your card and don't have a lot of space to put your sentiment on there. And lastly, we're going to create the background using my Cascading Hearts A4 embossing folder. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this die so that it's off the page, because you have to sometimes do things where they're a little offset to create interest, and I think that's one of those things that you need to remind people of every once in a while. So I've taped this into place, and we're going to go ahead and cut it. So here's my cutting plate. Put that down, my base plate on top, and we're going to run it through the grand caliper. There. Now I've already cut one of these dies out of our soft gold card that we're going to use on our card. So for this one, I'm just going to take the Apperture. Let's see. Now it looks like it didn't cut all the way, so I'm going to turn it and pass it through one more time. And I'll go back. There we go. So let's carefully untape that. We've got a removable tape. And since I'm not using this piece, I'm just going to set it to the side. So this is our aperture that we're going to be using. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into my Cascading Hearts folder. And let's tape that into place. Right about like that. So for this sandwich, I need my base plate. And I need my raspberry plate and a shim. Pop that right on there and through the grand caliper. Okay. Ooh, really pretty now. So you can see, let's take that tape off, you can see the beautiful embossed background around that die. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do, and I've actually got one of these prepared ahead of time, so I'm going to use this one, is I'm going to put some mounting foam on the back of that and get it all ready, okay? And I've got a piece of coconut white card here with some sticky adhesive on it. What I want to do is I want to put this die on there and bead around it, but I want to approximate where it's going to sit because I'm going to put this back into place, all right? So I need it to sit about like this, roughly just off the edge here. And I've got a little room so I can maneuver it. But we will go ahead and do this, and let's see how it comes out. Let's get this edge started. Okay, and I'm just going to peel it back, about like that. And I'm going to lay this into place approximately the same angle, right about like that. Oops. About like that. Okay, close that, and I'm just going to give it a good press into that so that I have good adhesion. Okay, peel it all the way off. And since that part's not even going to show at this point, well, I'll tell you what, let's just trim that. Now, we'll go ahead and take it off, it's just easier. And I'm going to put this into my micro beads and bead all the way around this. There we go. So you can see how it's almost got an inlaid look about it. Give them a good press. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim away the extra bit with my scissors. You can use a paper cutter if you prefer. There we go. And I should be able to line this up so it's relatively straight with that. And I can use the paper trimmer if I'm off a bit, okay? So I'm going to take my mounting foam off the back here, the backing pages. And let's see. I need to lean over just a little bit, so I hope I don't obscure your vision too much. Pop that into place. There we go. That's not too bad. I have a little bit offset here, so I'm just going to trim this part away. There we go. So I've got a perfectly offset aperture that I've beaded all the way around it there for my card. So let's go ahead and put this onto our backing card with some double-sided tape. And I've already prepared a background where I've got a double layer of white, coconut white card, and I've pierced it. We'll lay this inside of that. There we go. Now, for that center piece, it cuts with a little flower look in the center. So I'm going to use that. I've popped it up onto a piece of dimensional mounting foam. And there's a hole that cuts out of the center of that there. So don't worry about that. That's not going to show. And then we're just going to put that over. And I have a little pearl. We're going to cover it with that. So I've got an 8mm pearl to put in the center of that. Gorgeous. Now we're just going to finish it off with a seam binding bow that we've tied. It's got a little heart dazzler in there. I've got a glue dot that we'll attach it with, because I'd already wrapped a little piece around there. And we'll put that down in the corner. And I have already stamped and cut out with the Charmed I'm Sure a little sentiment, and just use a little bit of another glue dot. And we're going to just tuck that under our heart dazzler. How pretty is that? Add a pearl swirl to the top of the card, and you are done. So you've got a nice, opulent, beautiful card done with the gold and the white that you can give to your recipient. Hope you've enjoyed today's demo. Bye-bye.